we spoke about this, I think, in the first interview I ever did with you. It's like, you don't truly know who your mates are until you go through something like this. You truly do know who's on your side, going through what
Yeah.
you did.
He
And
came in and they interviewed him during the investigation. That they flew down there. Schiffel did, the district attorney, and they didn't get. They threatened him. They tried to push him around a little bit, but whatever they did that same thing with Art. Art did the same thing. My friend from Vegas flew out immediately. He got there on Friday also and spent 10 days, 10, 11 days with me looking for Emily. They interviewed both of them, and neither one of them testified at trial. I gave them each $5,000. I cut them a check afterwards after they left, when they were leaving.
Oh,
and they put the checks into evidence, like, hey, look at what's going on, but they didn't like have them testify, because then there was nothing there except the fact that there was two people that hung out with me for 10 days, 11 days, right while this was going on. And you would think that they'd want to interview them, right? You would think that they would want to in court to testify, but they didn't get anything from them, so they didn't even bother mentioning it, except the checks, because the checks were mysterious, right?
Well, they're not going to put them on stand if it's going to be bad for them. Do you know what I mean? So that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
They're selective. It's called tunnel vision. It's exactly what tunnel vision is.
But they don't want anyone to hear any of that.
What we did is COVID was shut. It was shut. COVID shutdowns were in effect. Nothing was open. I don't know if can you remember that? Remember that? There was nothing. No one went to work, right? No one went to work. You couldn't go to a bar, all concerts, everything was canceled. So it was just a weird time. They flew in on Friday. We made flyers, and there was Black Lives Matter rallies going on at the time. We went to two of them, and we just went up to people and said, take a picture of this flyer and put it on your social media. We were just trying to get the word out that Emily was missing. She wasn't, to me, she was alive. There wasn't any reason for me to think that she wasn't. Those dogs looked around. If she would have committed suicide, they would have found her. So, where did she go? John Kramer saw her Monday morning at 9:30, 10. He recanted. What he said is he didn't know whether it was that Monday or the Sunday before. That doesn't mean that it was the Sunday before. Then we proved that the Sunday before we weren't even home. So it was Monday when he saw her. So that's what we went with. She was last seen Monday between 9:30 and 10. And what's going to happen to someone between 9:30 and 10 in Westerville at that time? So in our minds, she was just out there somewhere. She had some sort of break, and someone picked her up, and she was staying with someone. So we just needed to get the word out to everybody we could, as many people as we could, so if someone saw her, they can be like, well, we got her. She's over here, So we went to these Million Man marches and went up to everybody at these marches, and Paul was with me. Paul helped me. And we looked all day. That's all we did all day. Just go up to people. Sometimes we see people 2-3 times. There was a ton of people at these rallies. There's thousands of people there. Yeah. And then other than that, we would go to places. A friend of mine who ended up becoming a friend of mine, she's a missing persons advocate. And I was talking to her on the phone through Facebook. And she told me to look for Emily in places that we'd been together. So every place in Columbus that I could remember that Emily had taken me to, we went there. And we put flyers up, or we talked to people. And I can't list the amount of places we went. I should have listed them, but we looked until we were exhausted. We just went all day. We looked and looked and looked and looked. So, and then Grubbs will get on TV to this day and say that I was sitting home drinking, doing nothing. He's lying to you. They know. They had a GPS on my car. They had some sort of device that they put in my car. So they knew I was driving around looking.